Welcome to today's video where we'll be discussing a topic that's both exciting and a little nerve-wracking. Flirting. Flirting. That playful dance of words and gestures that's as old as the human race itself. It's the spark that ignites the flame of attraction. The subtle art of showing someone you're interested without saying it outright. But as fun and thrilling as flirting can be, it's also a minefield of potential blunders and missteps that can turn that flame of attraction into a damp squib. Like a delicate souffle, it can either rise to the occasion or deflate disastrously if not handled with care. And that's why we're here today, to guide you through the common mistakes we all tend to make when we flirt. Because let's face it, we've all been there, haven't we? So without further ado, let's dive into the 6 mistakes we often make when we flirt. First up on our list is a mistake that's all too common: overdoing it. Now, while it's important to show interest, there's a fine line that separates healthy flirting from going overboard. When you overdo flirting, it can come off as insincere or even desperate. And let's be honest, nobody finds desperation attractive. Imagine you're on a first date and you're laying on the compliments thick and fast. You're constantly praising their looks, their intelligence, their wit. It might seem like you're just being friendly or showing your keen interest, but to the person on the receiving end, it can feel like they're being overwhelmed and not in a good way. The key here is balance. Think of flirting as a dance. You don't want to step on your partner's toes by coming on too strong, nor do you want to seem disinterested by not participating enough. It's all about giving and receiving in equal measures. A good rule of thumb is to match their level of interest. If they're giving you a compliment, feel free to return one. If they're sharing something about themselves, show that you're listening by responding in kind. This way, you're showing interest without overdoing it. And don't forget, flirting is supposed to be fun. It's not a competition to see who can lay on the most compliments or who can make the other person laugh the most. It's about establishing a connection. And that can only happen if both of you are comfortable and enjoying the interaction. Remember, less is more when it comes to flirting. Mistake number 2, ignoring body language. Now, we all know that communication isn't just about what we say, but how we say it. And a big part of that how is body language. It's a silent conversation happening right before our very eyes. Body language can tell you a lot about how the other person is feeling. Is their posture open and relaxed, or are they crossing their arms and looking away? These are the unspoken signals that can clue you in on whether someone is comfortable or not. Ignoring these signals can lead to miscommunication and missed opportunities. So, how do we read body language? It's all about paying attention to the details. If their eyes are locked onto yours, that's a sign of interest. Leaning in when you speak, that's another positive sign. But if they're looking around the room or their body is turned away from you, they might not be as engaged as you'd like them to be. And remember, it's not just about reading body language. It's about responding to it as well. If you notice someone is uncomfortable, change your approach. If they seem interested, keep the conversation flowing. So keep your eyes open and don't just listen with your ears, but also with your eyes. Moving on to mistake number 3, not being yourself. Now, this one's a biggie. We've all been there, trying to impress someone, stretching ourselves to seem more interesting, cooler, or smarter. But here's the thing, when you're not being authentic, it shows. It's like trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. It's uncomfortable, it's awkward, and it's just not you. Pretending to be someone you're not is like building a house on sand. Sure, it might look great for a while, but eventually the truth will out, and the whole thing can come crashing down. It can lead to misunderstandings, disappointments, and a relationship based on false pretenses. Authenticity, on the other hand, is attractive. It's the magnet that draws people in. There's a certain charm in being comfortable with who you are, quirks and all. It shows you're confident, genuine, and not trying to be a second-rate version of someone else. When you're true to yourself, you give the other person a chance to appreciate the real you. And isn't that what we all want? To be seen, to be understood, and to be accepted for who we truly are. So the next time you find yourself wanting to impress someone, remember, there's no one more impressive than you being you. So always remember to be yourself, because everyone else is already taken. Our 4th mistake is not showing interest. Now, this can be a tricky one. You might think you're playing it cool, but remember, we're not in a Hollywood movie, and life is not a game of hard to get. When we flirt, showing genuine interest in the other person is crucial. It's not just about what you say, it's about how you say it. It's about asking questions, actively listening, and engaging in the conversation. It's about making the other person feel valued, appreciated, and interesting. Failing to show interest can make the other person feel overlooked, and let's be honest, no one likes to feel that way. Imagine you're at a party. You're having a conversation with someone you find attractive. You're telling them about your recent trip to the Grand Canyon, but they don't seem engaged. They're looking around the room, not asking any questions, not showing any curiosity. How would you feel? Exactly, you'd probably feel unappreciated, maybe even a bit humiliated. So how can you show genuine interest? Start by asking open-ended questions. Show curiosity about their thoughts, opinions, experiences. Listen actively, make eye contact, and respond with empathy. And remember, it's not just about pretending to be interested, it's about being genuinely interested. But here's the catch, it's important to strike a balance. Show interest, but don't make it all about them. It's a two-way street. Engage in a give-and-take conversation. After all, flirting is about building a connection, and connections are built when both parties are equally invested. So, make sure to show that you're interested, but remember it's a two-way street. The fifth mistake we often make is crossing boundaries. Let's dive into this a bit. In the dance of flirtation, it's imperative to respect personal boundaries. These boundaries might be physical, emotional, or even conversational. Crossing them can quickly turn a charming interaction into an uncomfortable one. It's the equivalent of stepping on your dance partner's toes. And believe me, nobody enjoys that. Imagine this, you're at a social gathering and you strike up a conversation with someone, you're having a good time, but then you decide to bring up an intensely personal or controversial topic. Suddenly, the mood shifts. That's a conversational boundary you've just crossed. Or perhaps you're invading someone's personal space without their consent. That would be crossing a physical boundary. So, how do we avoid this? The first step is awareness. Be aware of the other person's comfort level. Look for signs of discomfort, like a sudden change in body language or conversation tone. If you notice these, it might be time to take a step back. Also, consider the context. Certain topics or behaviors might be acceptable in one setting, but not in another. When in doubt, it's better to err on the side of caution. And finally, don't forget to communicate. If you're unsure about a boundary, it's okay to ask. Open communication can clear up any potential misunderstandings and help maintain a comfortable and respectful interaction. Always remember, respect is the foundation of any interaction. And last but not least, mistake number 6, misreading signals. This is one of the most common missteps in the dance of flirtation, and it can lead to some seriously awkward situations. Imagine this, you're at a party, and someone keeps looking your way. You think, they must be interested in me. But are they really? Or are they just trying to catch the eye of the waiter behind you? It's a classic example of misreading signals, and we've all been there. Misinterpreting signals can happen in many ways. Maybe you mistake kindness for flirtation, or maybe you think someone's casual touch on your arm is a sign of interest when they're just naturally touchy-feely. It's easy to jump to conclusions, but it's vital to take a step back and analyze the situation. Here are a few tips on how to better understand and interpret signals. First, consider the context. If you're in a professional setting, chances are high that what you're interpreting as flirtation is just friendly banter. Second, observe their behavior with others. If they're equally friendly and touchy with everyone, then it's probably not about you specifically. Lastly, trust your gut. If something feels off, it probably is. Misreading signals can create uncomfortable situations and even damage relationships. So always take a moment to understand the signals before jumping to conclusions. And there you have it, the 6 mistakes we often make when we flirt. From overdoing it and ignoring body language to not being ourselves and showing a lack of interest, we've covered some of the most common pitfalls in the art of flirting. We've also highlighted the importance of respecting boundaries and the danger of misreading signals. Each of these mistakes can send the wrong message and sabotage your chances of making a connection. But don't worry, with a little mindfulness, all of these mistakes can be easily avoided. Just remember to be genuine, attentive, and respectful. Flirting isn't a one-size-fits-all approach, it's a delicate dance of mutual interest and respect. It's about finding that sweet spot between being engaging and being respectful. Remember, flirting should be fun and respectful, so keep these tips in mind the next time you're trying to catch someone's eye. Thanks for watching.